Hey, deserving listeners, 90-Day Fiancé, Last Resort, Let's Watch. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. As always, don't use YouTube as a replacement for therapy. If you need a therapist, get one. You deserve it. Let's watch.
So I unblocked the other guy, and then he texted me to come see him, and I spent the night there.
Kalani! What a drama.
I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry.
Okay, so full disclosure, it has been a while since I watched this show. I watched this show back when it was actually, being published, which was a couple months ago. And I have been slowly releasing those episodes over time, interspersed with other kinds of content. So I'm forgetting two things. One, some of the details of the show, so forgive me. But I don't think it's very complicated. So I just want to be clear about that. And I'm also forgetting if I've even watched this episode. I actually rewatched some of the episodes that I published, because it's recorded, so I can figure out where I was. But I feel like I remember seeing this scene. So now I'm wondering if I continued watching but just didn't have much to say. So if I repeat myself or I seem a little off, I apologize. I'm going to watch the rest of these episodes. I think there's 3 episodes at the end of the season, and one, either today or today and tomorrow. And so I will at least retain that information, but I just wanted to be clear about that. Because I thought long and hard. It's like, well, okay, maybe I could sit down and rewatch all my previous videos, or I could sit down and rewatch the whole season again. Then I thought, well, I don't know. I feel like I could probably do it. But then I was worried, well, what if I say stuff that indicates that I'm, because if you just watched the previous video that I made, it might look like, but he just talked about that yesterday on that other video. Well, that last video I recorded, I don't even know how long ago. In fact, let me look it up. It was like 7 weeks ago, 6 or 7 weeks ago that I recorded it. So, my brain is only so good, but let's try to keep track. But anyway, so where we're at is that Kalani is informing her friends that she unblocked the guy that she had blocked at the request of Asuelu, because Kalani had told Asuelu that she, upon getting the hall pass, had gotten together with this guy, and not only did they kiss, because apparently the hall pass was just for kissing, I think, and it led to a home run, to use a phrase from middle school. And so she told Asuelu about that, and Asuelu was upset. And I think originally when I was reacting to it, I thought the hall pass was for a home run, was for full sex. But, it's funny. It's like, what word? You say intercourse, but, you don't really know what people do. And so I don't know what phrase, full sex, like the full Monty. I don't know. Anyway, so they are, so the hall pass was just for kissing, and she went further with it. I was reacting, thinking that the hall pass was to go all 9 yards. And so so I was saying, like, Asuelu, what's the deal? But, looking back, now that I know, because my wife told me that it was just for kissing, it makes sense that he was a little upset. But still, I given how much cheating he was involved in, and anyway, so she is having feelings for this fella, but she blocked him at the request of Asuelu. She is, okay, so then she started to learn more about Asuelu's cheating, or started to think about it. I forget all the details. And as a consequence, in her move away from Asuelu, she decides to unblock this guy who has and then said, hey, come to see me, or am I watching ahead? And then Kalani spent the night with this guy and had the full 9 yards again. Can you imagine? 9 yards. Anyway, so that happened, and what's my reaction to it? Well, of course, given the circumstances of the relationship. Oh, another thing, I don't know if I talked about this, but people would email or comment and say that, well, Kalani is Mormon. And I don't know if that's ever been explicitly talked about. I know that she's from Utah, but, I think there's a sizable percentage. I remember spending time in Salt Lake City, which is Mormon Central, and I was in a taxi cab, and the cab driver told me that he's not Mormon, and he would estimate like 50% of people in Salt Lake are not Mormon. So just being from Utah doesn't mean you're Mormon, but, raises the chance. But anyway, and you don't really know what kind of Mormons, because there's a lot of different kinds of Mormons. I grew up with a lot of Mormons, and there are some Mormons that are very relatable to me, and there are some Mormons that are very unrelatable to me. So what kind of Mormon are you? Now, the chance of a Mormon having a Latter-day Saints follower, for them to have regressive and potentially problematic views about sexuality is higher, right? But it's not like non-Mormons don't have those kinds of thoughts as well. Anyway, so why am I saying this? It's because it's possible that Kalani had been a virgin or had very limited understanding of sexuality upon meeting Asuelu, gets pregnant very quickly, falls in love very quickly, and maybe even because she was out of town, she was abroad, island nation. He's from Samoa. Was she in Samoa? Anyway, I believe so. Anyway, so it was, I think that's a factor. And also with Kalani and Asuelu, they both talked about how they didn't understand how she got pregnant so fast. Remember that? I can't remember the details on that. And I'm thinking, you don't understand what? Well, there's a possibility that Kalani has never been exposed to sexual education. And although she might basically understand it, but not well enough, it's one thing, most 16-year-olds understand the basics of biology when it comes to procreation and sex. But to really know it, and live by the information, you have to have it drilled into your head several times. So for the average 16-year-old or 22-year-old, or really anyone of any age, but younger, it's harder because they're new to sexuality relatively. And so they might know it, but to live by it, you have to live and breathe it. You have to have a lot of conversations about it. You have to, you tell a 16-year-old, you understand that the sperm and the egg, right? You got that? Okay. To expect them to figure out how to create a system around which they can make sound choices is unreasonable, because when they're in the moment, there's other factors that are influencing them, right? So there has to be like preparations. There has to be the acquiring of prophylactics prior to even being in that situation. There has to be conversations about how to have a conversation. There has to be conversations about masculinity and about sexual pleasure and about the future. Anyway, so when you have people that come from particular pockets of culture in which they don't have access to that information or conversation or discourse, then you raise the risk of someone not being able to make choices that are in their best interest. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kalani in 20 years looks back, because it looks like they're going to break up. I wouldn't be surprised if Kalani in 20 years looks back and says, I was young, I was naive, I should have been told so many things. Someone should have helped me with how to navigate those kinds of situations, and I was just ill-prepared. I was basically like a 12-year-old when it came to romance and sex, and I acted that way. And overall, I've managed, and I have 2 or 3 beautiful kids, because they already have 2, and I think, anyway, I'm forgetting about the rest of it. Is she currently pregnant? That's a detail I probably should know, but I'm forgetting. Anyway, so for Kalani, I guess that's another factor. But what do I think about her spending time with this guy? If I were her therapist and or her friend, I would say to her that, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay with Asuelu or not? Because if you don't want to stay with him, then, or there's a good chance you don't want to be with him, then let's discuss that and let's work on that and let's get your needs met and let's start going down that road. Or if you're unsure, then let's figure out a way to clarify that. What I would not recommend that she do is that she leapfrog that decision-making process and just start getting together with another person, because it's essentially cheating. Now, what a lot of people would say, including myself, is, well, does Asuelu deserve her fidelity? No, but it's not about deserve, and it's a lot about just your own integrity, and also what story do you want to be told about your divorce? It's a much better story to tell that he cheated on me and I never cheated on him, and we broke up and then I started dating. That's a much different story than he cheated on me a lot and I also kind of cheated on him. You know, that's a different story. And Asuelu could use that against you. You know, he could, upon being accused, you know, I could see Asuelu and Kalani have, you know, because they're bound by these children for the rest of their lives. Who knows what kind of conflicts they will get into, even with divorce. And it's just a cleaner situation to be able to say, look, you cheated on me, I never cheated on you. I don't know. The other thing is that the other guy, it kind of might string him along, because if Kalani isn't sure, because it looks like she's sure, but I've been with many, many clients who have every reason to say, I'm done with this marriage. And yet they do not pull the trigger. They do not actually break up. It might last for their marriage might last for another 10, 20 years, maybe forever. I've seen that before, even though it looks like, what? I mean, one, it's hard to divorce, especially with kids. Two, if you're in a particular cultural pocket, sometimes there's a lot of pressure, you know, literally ministers telling you that you're going to go to hell if you get a divorce, that kind of thing. Another factor is that you have to know what you want, and you have to know your needs, and you have to feel like you deserve to get your needs met. And I don't think Kalani is entirely there yet. I think she's building towards that, but I don't think she really is in connection with her feelings. I think her life would look differently if she did have a more robust connection with her needs and her rights. So we can't know that she's actually getting a divorce and that she's just pre-getting together with this guy because she's basically divorced and she will be soon. So that's another reason why I would advise her, look, I get it and you have needs and you deserve it, but you also deserve to cut ties with Asuelu before you engage with other people.
Georgie, but I can't. It's not Asuelu. It's his mistake.
Holy whew, Kalani, as much as I love you, you can't have that man here when you're at a therapy trying to save your marriage. Girl, it's gonna be a disaster.
Well, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Angela, but the other factor here is that I will hear from a lot of people. Sometimes I'll hear from both sides of the couple. Each of them will have their own justifications for cheating. They will say things like, for Kalani's situation, and we could imagine Asuelu might have a similar story. Well, if you were being honest, who knows? Well, I'm only cheating because of the way she talks down to me or how she treats me or blah, 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 blah. You know, there's always a justification. Now, I think looking at this, a lot more people, a jury of one's peers would say that she has more justification than he does, especially at the amount of cheating. But I just think it's a dangerous mindset of, well, I feel like I deserve to cheat. I feel like that mindset leads to a lot of bad decisions, a lot of decisions that a jury of one's peers would not agree with.
I kind of get it. If Michael was treating me like that, would hit the fan all over that beach. I get it. I get it.
So what, came to know everything?
Okay, so I went to go see him. with good intentions. I was just going to talk to him and see how things.
All right. So I feel like I haven't seen this scene, so maybe we're in the clear. I hear that a lot from people when cheating happens. They will say, look, I was just going to meet up with them and break up with them. Or I was just going to meet up with them. And what does that even mean? She unblocks him. Oh, has she said that she... Anyway, I've heard that phrase a lot. And it's like the way that I see it is there's a part of you that wants to cheat, but there's another part of you that feels like that's not okay, right? So the part of you that wants to cheat will say, hey, we'll just go, because it's like, let's go. And the other person, the other side of you is like, no. And then this person, the devil on your shoulder, if you will, says, well, let's just go and we're just going to talk. Okay? Do we have a deal? And then the angel says, like, we're just going to talk? Yeah, we're just going to talk. Wink, wink. Well, okay, if we're just going to talk, and then you get there, and then the side of you that wants to get together knows that the angel side will eventually get on board or will become so diminished by the amount of needs, sexual and romance and affection and attachment, all that stuff will just come pouring out, and the angel won't be able to do anything about it.
Like, try to figure out what we were doing. And because I saw Asuelu deleting messages, it kind of was the breaking point for me.
All right, that was it. She saw him deleting messages, and he was super shady about it. And given his behavior, it seems highly like she'd be stupid to not consider that to be a pretty strong sign that there's a pretty strong ability that he had been communicating with women that he was cheating with or had planned to cheat with or whatever. So, yeah. What's the chance that Asuelu has told her everything that he has done? It doesn't seem likely. But again, if I were her friend or her therapist, I would say, what I'm hearing from you is you're wanting to go to this new guy. And of course, you deserve to have someone that treats you well. You also deserve to spend an amount of time, even if it's just 5 minutes, to decide that you're getting a divorce. All you got to do, if you want to be with that guy, is say, Asuelu, or at the very least, Asuelu, I am going to get together with someone else. I don't know if I want a divorce. I just don't know. But I do know that I'm about to go to this other guy's place. I don't plan on getting together with him, but I might. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way things. If you want to break up with me because of that, that's your choice. But I'm just not ready to break up with you. I don't know. I might, but I don't know yet. I'm still unsure. I'm overwhelmed. But I'm definitely going to this other guy's house. You could do that, and then Asuelu can make his own choice around that. Instead of just sneaking out the back door and lying to him, it's just not a good sort of precedent to set. The other thing is that for her, given my loose hypothesis about her psychology and her sense of self, her connection with herself, is that this will happen a lot where people, deep down, they are screaming at themselves to break up with Asuelu. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of herself that's just like, you've wanted to get out of this for a long time. But something is either in the way, like religion or expectation or shame or something, or even like, will I meet another person? Will someone else be attracted to me the way Asuelu is? I don't know. Those kinds of thoughts are common for everybody. And so I wouldn't doubt if she has a lot of that, but because she's not in connection with that, she can't take action on it. And so she is allowing herself to do something else sort of as a half measure. But, divorcing in a half measure doesn't work well. It's like you either break up or you don't. And so she is potentially denying herself a real opportunity to stand on her own 2 feet and say, what do I want? This is what I want, and this is going to happen, and this is on my terms, and it's on my plan, and I am going to get my needs met in this way, and I'm not going to sneak out the back door to do it. To do it this way might be just perpetuating the problem. The issues that led to her even getting together with Asuelu, getting married to Asuelu, sticking with him, we might just be seeing another manifestation of that with this new guy. I mean, God knows what this other guy, what's going on with him. This has the look of liberation, right? Of just like, oh, you're going to have a man that treats you well, and maybe he will. But it could just be a Swelu part 2 or worse. We just don't know. So for Kalani, she could really benefit by, and I'm not saying she can't get together with him. I'm just saying she would benefit by being in congruence with what she wants and what she needs and what her values are, which I'm sure do not include cheating. All right, well, let's adjourn there. So we have a package that I want to open on the video here. I don't know what's in here. It's a flat thing, so I don't know, maybe it's a poster or a letter from Fema. Good old Fema says, I finally got around to printing my space pictures and wanted to send you this for your office. You, the co-host, especially Bob, and your podcast are a guiding light, especially through my moments of darkness. Oh, well. Are these your photos? I got around to printing my space pictures. So you took these pictures of the sun and what looks to be Jupiter, the moon. What's that nebula called? Is it the Crab Nebula? You took these pictures? That's cool. Thank you, Fema. That's very nice of you. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.